Okay, so we'll do something a little bit different today because I'm pretty sure that those who students who uh, are sincere in class would be able to do the assignments, but others would struggle. Anyway, I don't think many of them would be here in the class anyway, so I don't know how useful this is going to be, but let us try. Uh, so, as I have previously mentioned, and you already have done one assignment on Python. Um, I don't know. Many of you might have taken help from others or whatever. So let us try to bring everybody so that they can do these assignments on their own and understand what is going on. Okay. So we'll be Python inherently has lots of functions, but many of those functions are not sufficient to do things that we want. So we need to take help of libraries. Either we can write it on the function on our own, or we can take help of pre-built functions that people have written, and we can use those. Okay, so that is what we're going to use for most of this course. I'll not ask you to write algorithms because it will take very long for you to uh, uh, write those codes, and our goal here is not to learn programming but to learn machine learning. Okay, so we'll be using primarily four libraries primarily. Okay, one of them is NumPy. Okay, the first one. Okay, so if you want to use any particular library, uh, first of all you have to install it. Okay, but most of the things are already taken care of. If even if it is not installed, many times your IPython notebook that we're using here is able to do the installation. Okay, so that can happen on its own. uh, Next, you'll so we'll be importing three libraries here for this particular. We'll be importing a fourth library later on. Uh, but let us see what these are. So NumPy is primarily, as I mentioned to you previously, it sort of converts Python into MATLAB. Okay, you can think of it this way. Okay, it gives much lower level access to uh, the computer than native Python can. So if you can do everything in NumPy, that is probably the fastest way of doing anything in Python. Okay, if you can do everything in NumPy, do all the calculations, everything that you do in NumPy, they're much faster than doing anything, almost anything in Python directly, because NumPy is sort of a wrapper on C functions. Okay, it is uh, so everything in background is going on in C. Okay, those functions have been compiled in C, and so they are much faster than what native Python things can do. Okay, the second one is Pandas. So all these are almost the standards. So so when I say import NumPy as NP, I am importing NumPy for use in my program later on, and as NP means I can use an alias. Okay, so here NP is an alias. You can call NumPy in either way. Okay, you can call it as NumPy or you can call it as NP. Okay, and similarly PD is an alias, and these are almost universally accepted aliases for these two libraries. And third library, that this is used for plotting. Okay, so this library is used for plotting. Okay, so if you know any other high level programming language like C or anything like that, you cannot plot anything there. Okay, maybe you can by importing libraries, but natively you cannot. Similarly, you cannot do that in Python either. Okay, so you have to use libraries to do any plotting or anything like that. Okay, and this is for data storage and manipulation. Okay, so Pandas is used for that. It makes our life much easier. Okay, so as I have given uh, you might have studied file handling in your other programming languages also. Here also we have some kind of file handling where we can either store some, that means read from a file, or store into a file, because finally we want our, if we are doing something really important, then we want the data to be stored forever. Okay, and so or we want to import data at some point of time from a file. Okay, so this is what we are doing here. So using pandas function called dot so pd dot stands for that we are calling a function from pd, okay, which is pandas. So pandas has an inbuilt function for reading a CSV file. What is a CSV file? Anybody knows?
Sir, comma separated.
Yeah, CSV stands for comma separated values. Okay, so if you were to look at this file in a text editor, let me open this file in a text editor and let me show it to you. Where is it? Can you see my text editor or not yet?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how a CSV file looks like. Most of the data is usually stored in this format because it makes our life much easier. Almost anything can read these files. Okay. So your commas are used to separate different. So if you look at the first row contains the headings for each of your columns. Okay. And so if you have and you could also open this directly in Excel. Excel has the facility for reading CSV files. So if you open this in Excel, it will automatically pre-process it for you. Okay, it will consider comma as what? The column. Okay, comma is separating two columns. Okay, and so if you look at this in where is it? Excel. So this is how it looks like. It has already pre-processed the file for you. Okay, it has gotten rid of all the commas and it has converted those into individual columns. Is that all right? So let us move back to, can you see my notebook now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So now like in MATLAB, if you don't put a semicolon, it gives an output. Okay, similarly you can do something in Python as well. Okay, you can do a similar thing, but the if you're using Jupyter Notebook, but it only prints the last thing that you call. Okay, so when I'm calling dataset.info, there is nothing like semicolon here. Okay, so even if you put a semicolon, it might give you an error. So don't put the semicolon to suppress the output. Okay, it won't do it. That is not allowed. In MATLAB you can do that. You can suppress the output by putting a semicolon, but in this case you cannot do that. If you call something like this dataset.info, if it has an output, it is going to show that output to you. So in this case, if I run this, it shows the output of this particular function call. Okay, so when I say dataset.info, whatever the value corresponding to that is going to get printed out. Okay, so when I call, so pandas create something called as data frames. Okay, so pandas create something called as data frame. Okay, so data frame is just a data structure, okay, which is like a table. Okay, so when you look at the dataset.info, it gives you the value, it tells you that it's a data frame and info of x and y. X and y are your column names, and these are the values. Okay, it automatically also adds on its own the index corresponding to it. Okay, so please understand that this was not originally present. This 0 1 2 3, all those were not present. These are the indexes of individual rows. Okay, so this is 0, this is the 0th row, first row, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is very useful if you want to look at what your data looks like. Okay, here we looked at it in a couple of ways. We looked at the text file, we also looked at it in Excel. But if you did not want to use either of those two applications, or you did not have access to any such application, then you could possibly just use Python and look at the data yourself, okay, by using this particular function call. Now I know my data looks something like this. I have, so forget about the first column, which is the indices. Look at this column and this column. You have a numerical value, numerical integer on in the first column, and can you see my cursor or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. And the second one contains a float value. Okay, so I now I want to do something with these values. I want to apply linear regression on this. Can you hold on a minute? Okay, so we want to apply linear regression to this. So we want to extract x and y. So the first column is my x and the second column is y. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to call this particular data set which I have or this particular data frame which I have called as which I have given the name data set, and using this particular function or whatever you want to call these, I don't know the exact names of these, but data.iloc. So this gives you the index values, okay, corresponding to those index values. So this is your, so please understand that although it prints these out, it prints out this 0 1 2, but those don't count. So if you look at this colon comma 0, can anybody tell me what this is going to do?
So it will take all the values of 0x's, 0 first column.
Maybe it would be better if you don't answer, because you already know, I know that. I would ask somebody else. If you have done MATLAB or anything like that, can anybody tell me what is going to happen? Come on, I'm just asking this. What would this do? Forget about iloc. Let us say that just look at this. What would this do? What does colon stand for? Aman, are you there?
Yes, sir.
What do you think it is going to do?
Sir, representing x and y axis type.
Yeah. But what is colon? So x is the first column is your the rows, and the second is your columns. Okay, the first value is the rows and the second is the columns. Okay, that is how usually it works in MATLAB also. So this is a simple matrix notation. So what do you think colon stands for?
Oh no, sir.
Never used MATLAB?
Yes, sir, used, but not.
Don't know. Asha, what do you think
Yeah.
this is going to do?
So it will select all the rows that belongs to first column.
Yeah, the 0th column. So 0th column is this 0. Sorry, 1 2 3 4. This is index. This is not a column. Okay, please understand that this is the index. Now this is the column. So so in in Python, the indexing starts from 0. So this is the 0th column. Okay, 0th column contains 1 2 3 until 40. Okay, so when I call this particular thing, it is going to, so iloc. So you can also call these things by their names. Okay, that is the benefit of using pandas. In pandas, you can also, you don't have to remember the column number. You can also call by column names or column names. So in this case, we are, instead of using column numbers, names, we are using the column number. So therefore we use this function iloc. Okay, so this is integer. Loc stands for location. Okay, so in index, so integer based location. So that is where this iloc comes from, and we want to use so if I do this, then it is going to create another data frame, okay, which is not really that that universal a data structure. So we want to convert that data frame into a, so let me write that down. So data set dot iloc is going to give you another data frame. okay, leads to another data frame. We do not want that. Okay, this creates another data frame which is not really a universal data structure. Okay, we want to use a more universal data structure, which is a what is that? A NumPy list. Okay, we want to use a NumPy list. So what is this going to do? Dot values, what is that going to do? Anybody? I gave you a hint. Anybody who wants to say what values is going, dot values is going to do? So this is going to give you another data frame, okay, containing those values. What is dot values going to do? Come on. Dipanshu. You there?
Yes, sir. I don't know.
You don't know?
Yes, sir.
Were you listening to me, or are you doing something else?
Sir, I am listening to you.
Then I just wrote it there, no? We want it to be in a more universal data structure, which is NumPy list. So what do you think that dot values is going to do?
Is it going to create a list?
Yeah, it is going to create a
Of
NumPy
that
list.
column.
Okay, so this creates a data frame, and if you put dot values, it is going to create a NumPy list, which is more universal and can be accepted by a lot more libraries. Okay, so this creates a library, and the reason we are doing this is going to reshape it. Okay, so if you look at how many columns does it have? How many columns does this data structure is going to have? How many columns?
One column.
One column. Okay, but when I call this, it is going to create instead of a two-dimensional list. Okay, it is going to create a one-dimensional list because it has only one column. Okay, so we want to create a, so reshape is going to create, so reshape creates a 2D list. Okay, in this case, that 2D list is going to have what? So you can create 2D matrices or 2D arrays. Okay, you can create a 1D array and you can create a 2D array in any programming language. Okay, or 3D or whatever. Okay, so when I call this particular function, when I call this, because it has only one column, so it, instead of creating a 2D list, it creates a one-dimensional list with whatever the number of. So what will be the length of that list? In this particular case, what will be the length of that list? It will be a one-dimensional list of length 40. Okay, but most of the functions that we will be using later on, because most of the times we do not have only one input. Okay, we have multiple inputs. Okay, so that's why most of the functions that we'll be using later on, they are primarily built around that particular assumption that you will have multiple functions, multiple input variables. Okay, if you have multiple input variables, then what do you have? You need a 2D list. Okay, because what is going to happen if you look at your table? हमने table बनाया था ना, x1, x2, x3, so on and so forth. Okay, so it was a 2D list. Do you agree or no?
Yes, sir.
So what this is doing, what this reshape function is doing, it automatically reshapes your data. So please understand that this has a very weird sort of notation, -1, (1). So (1). So again, remember, the first one is row and the second one is column. So I have specified my number of columns to be equal to what? What is the number of columns?
1.
1. Okay, we want to reshape my data. We want to reshape our data. We have 40 values, and we want to reshape our data in such a way that we have one column. And how many rows? How many rows have I written here? Come on. अरे भाई कोई तो बोलो, लिखा हुआ है मैंने.
So you wrote -1, but how can be number of rows?
Yeah, so it cannot be -1. But what -1 does is that it calls a special function, that what it does is that it reshapes your data in in whatever is most logical way, assuming that you have how many columns? You have how many columns here? One
One
column.
column.
Okay, so it will reshape your data automatically. So I have already specified that there should be only one column. Okay, so how many rows will I have now?
40 rows.
Yeah, 40 rows. So this will create a list of the shape 40 cross 1. Okay, where 40 is the number of rows and 1 is the number of columns. So before reshape, what was my list? What was the size of my list? Was what? Before the reshape, it is just 40. Okay, because this is a one-dimensional list. Okay, so it is initially it was a 1D list, and now we have created a 2D list. Okay, now instead of doing all those, and similarly I have created my Y. Usually for most cases you have only one output variable. Okay, so that is what we are doing here, so we do not need to reshape this particular list. Okay, this is going to be a 1D list, and that 1D list is what is expected by the models that we are going to use or libraries that we are going to use later on in the code. Okay, so does anybody have a question till now? I'll answer that.
So can we use -1 in place of number of columns also?
Let us try. But then it will what should it do then?
It will automatically reshape it into 40 into 1.
Oh, let us see. Yeah, somebody else was asking a question.
Sir, I just wanted to ask, I didn't understand the meaning of -1 in reshape.
You did not understand the meaning of -1 in reshape. So
Yeah.
if you look at the second column, second value, which is the number of columns, I have specified the number of columns to be equal to what? 1. Okay, and -1 means I have a flexibility of whatever is required. Okay, so if I have specified the number of columns is 1, then -1 gives me the flexibility that I can have any number of rows, which how many number of rows are required to fit this much data. Okay, so I could let us do something. Let me replace this by 2. Okay, and let us see what happens in this case. So now do you see what is happening? Okay, it converted every row into which has 2 columns. Okay, and your original data had how many values? 40 values, 1 to 40. Okay, so every row has been given 2 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. Okay, is that all right?
Yes, sir, I understood.
And let me try 3. It should give an error, but maybe it doesn't. Yeah, it does give an error because 40 cannot be divided into equal number of means it cannot be divided by 3, so you will not get the correct. Okay, so you cannot do by 3. Okay, so what was the other person's question? I'm
-1 if we will convert the row to column to -1.
oh, everything to -1. Let us see. It won't. You have to, so you can only specify one unknown dimension. Okay, but
Okay, sir.
if I did this, then what do you expect? Then you'll have
Only
one row
and 40 columns.
Okay, is that all right? Okay, so this is the value of X, and but if let us say I do this, so I did X over there and then I did Y. So I was just mentioning you that there is a limitation of this notebook that it only prints. So if you print in this manner, okay, if you want to take your output in this manner, then it only prints the last value. So you look at this, it does not even print what the X was. Okay, so if you really wanted to print both X and Y, then you should call the function print. Okay, it is almost always a good idea to use print rather than just call that. So in this case, what is it going to do? It is going to print both X and Y. Okay, So when you try to print using just the variable name, then it only prints the last, whatever the last variable was present in that particular block of code. Okay. So now, instead of using linear regression that we have done until now, so in the previous assignment, you were asked to write a code for linear regression. We'll use inbuilt libraries, not inbuilt libraries, external libraries. So one of them is scikit-learn. Okay, scikit-learn is a machine learning or a statistics library, scikit-learn. Okay, which has a name, this. Okay, it has the name sklearn. Okay, so it has a sub library by the name linear model. Okay, which has an inbuilt function called linear regression. Okay, so that is what we are doing here. From scikit-learn library and the sub library called linear model, import the function called linear regression. Okay, so if I don't give as, then it is going to be imported by its own original name, which is linear regression. Please understand that Python is a case sensitive language, so linear regression has to be written exactly in this particular case where L and R are capital. In linear, L is capital, and regression, the first R is capital. So you have to write it in exactly this manner. Okay, and I'm calling this function, okay, and giving the name to that call as lin_reg. So this is a fixed variable, fixed name that is present in this library, and I'm creating this variable. Okay, you can give any name you want to lin_reg, but I use this. I did not use this. The link that I sent you, it is almost copied from there. Everything I did not copy paste. I typed it, but I've looked at from there. Okay, so so when I do this, I have given this name to this particular function. Okay, and I so this is sort of this is not a function, sorry, it's an object. Okay, so sort of we are calling this particular object. Have you seen objects in Java? You have done Java, no? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is sort of, we are creating an object of the type linear regression. Okay. So when I call for this particular object, I'm calling a function called fit. Okay. What is this going to do? Anybody? It is going to fit my data to this particular function, whatever the way it is going to fit. So let me do one thing. Let me remove this reshape from here, and let us see what happens in this case. Okay, it is a 1D value. Okay, and I do this. I call this. So if you look at this, it is going to give you an error. Okay, it expected a 2D array, it got a 1D array. Okay, X was supposed to be a 2D array. So expected a 2D array and got a 1D array. So it all Python tells you that please use this. Okay, reshape your data. Okay, so let me go back and change this again and run this. So once I have run this, it has created an object of with a name linear regression of the type lin_reg of the type linear regression. Okay, now this, once you have fit this particular data set, you're going to lin_reg, that object contains whatever the values are. Okay, so one of those values is the coefficient. Okay, so in linear regression, how many values do you have? After fitting, you will get how many values? If you have a single variable linear regression, how many values are you going to get? You got coefficient corresponding to X. Okay, and you had the intercept, isn't it? Is that correct or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when I call this particular value, I get this 2.877. Okay, and let me see, I call this intercept, I get 4.1888. Okay, so what did you guys get when you had done your, this is the same data set, So the data set is exactly the same that I had for the previous assignment. So can anybody tell me what your values were for the coefficient of x? Kya tha? Please look at your assignment and tell me what the coefficient of x was. So fx is equal to, yeah,
So same.
Sir,
the
मेरा
total-
4.188 था. Same है.
no, that 4.188 is the intercept. I'm talking about
It's
the
a-
coefficient
Yeah,
of
the
x.
slope was 2.87738542.
Exactly the same.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yes,
sir.
yes, sir. 2 point. I also got same value.
Okay, what about the intercept? Exactly the same.
4.188.
Okay, so we are probably using the same algorithm that those, or same, not algorithm, same method for calculating the mean squared error, all those things. Okay, so we are getting the exact same thing. So so these are the two main outputs in one sense of your fit. Okay, like the linear regression fit. It also gives you a score. Okay, so this score is the R² value. Okay, so if you have done any kind of statistics, you might have come across this value. It is R². Okay, so R² value. So the score gives you R² value corresponding to this particular data set x comma y. Okay, you could also, so this is from this you can your equation becomes what is your equation now? So your equation is f x is equal to your intercept. Okay, whatever, let me call this as w0, not w0, w1 is equal to this. Okay, and this is your w0. Okay, so fx is equal to now w1 x plus what, w0, is that correct? Okay, that is your what fx is. You could possibly use this particular to create the values of whatever y corresponding to this you're going to get. Okay, but you don't have to do that. You can use the inbuilt function corresponding to this particular object, which is linear regression, which is a part of the linear regression model. Okay, it has a function called, almost all the machine learning libraries have this particular function called predict. Okay, so what is this going to do? What is predict as x doing? It is going to, based on what the fit has been done. Okay, so please understand that this linear regression contains all these, this particular object contains the information that was here, here, and here. Okay, it already knows what those values are based on this. When you call this particular fit, it stores the corresponding coefficient or whatever is required into its own memory. Okay, so when you call this predict function, what does it do? It predicts the value of y corresponding to the inputs x that you're giving here. Okay, is that all right? Okay, so now these values are your predicted values. Okay, and these values are your what are these?
Data set values.
These are from the original data set values. Okay, these are the output values from the data set, and these are the values from your prediction. Okay, so what are you, if you want to find out the mean squared error, what would you do? Let me call this as fx, or let me call this as y predicted. Okay, y predicted is this, y is this. So if you wanted to calculate the mean square error, I'm pretty sure there would be a function to do that, but let us do a manual calculation here. What would you do that? What would you do? Mean square error कैसे calculate करोगे?
By prediction.
So numpy dot average. Is there a function called average? I don't know. Maybe there is. Can anybody tell me?
Something.
Some is there. Some is there. I know that. Average is there or no? I'm pretty sure there is. Well, let us see. So y underscore predict minus y to the power 2. Is that correct? Is that the mean square error that you guys got? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what are we doing here? We are using the inbuilt function inside NumPy. Okay. Again, if you had to write this particular function in any other programming language, it would take you forever. Even Python, if you did not use NumPy, not forever, but it would take like 10 lines of code, because you would have to write a loop and all those things. Okay. What NumPy is, again, converting almost like MATLAB. And not only it is converting Python to MATLAB, but it's making it faster than native Python would be. Okay. So please try to use NumPy as much as you can. Okay, rather than using native functions of Python. So what is happening here? So obviously it's a 2-dimension 40 by 1 40 length array or a list, y predict, and similarly a 40 length. You're subtracting those two. How do you subtract those two? You subtract element by element, and to the power 2, what is it doing here? It is again taking powers element by element. Okay, so after doing the subtraction, so you'll have whatever values. Let us do that. So shift yeah. Okay, so these are the values of y predict minus y. Okay, you have 40 values now, where all of these two have been subtracted from each other. Okay, and then it is doing element by element squaring. Okay, and then what this does, it takes the average of all those values. Okay, that is how we define mean square error. Okay, so that is anybody has a question here? I'll answer that, otherwise we'll move on to how to do this polynomial fit. Anybody? If you think this is useful, please please tell me. How many of you think it is useful? Please raise your hands on this. Or we should stop. 1. Anybody else? Okay. Okay, there are at least 5-6 people. Okay, then we'll continue. Okay. So yeah, so as we discussed previously, fitting a linear model is fit using this linear model to fit even a non-linear function is not that difficult. Okay, you just need to create new features. Okay, that is what we are going to do here. Okay, so we'll from this another sub library of sklearn, which is called pre-processing. We import this particular function or object called as polynomial features. Okay, now I'm calling this particular object with a particular argument, which is degree equal to 4. Okay, so what is happening here is that I'm doing polynomial regression. So it is going to create polynomial features for me. Okay, so now some functions that you have in any of these libraries, in most of these machine learning libraries, have 2 aspects to them. One is fit. Okay, one is fit and the other is transform. Okay, so what does fit do? Fit does the calculation. Okay, so whatever calculation is required, it does all the calculations. Okay, and what does transform do? What would transform do? It, based on that calculation, it changes your data. Most of the time that transform does not happen in place. Okay, please understand that it does not change the data. Most of the time it does not change the data in the original location. Okay, you have to assign this to a certain value. So that is what we are doing here. We are calling this particular function fit transform on this particular object polyreg. Okay, what it does is that based on what the input x is, it does whatever is required. Okay, what are we telling it to do? Please create polynomial features up to degree 4. Okay, so now let us look at I did it later on, but anyway, so let me run this. Okay, so it has we'll worry about these later on, but let us look at this. So what is x poly done? So what is x poly? So it also creates x to the power 0 column also. Okay, what is x to the power 0? Any value of x to the power 0 is going to be what?
1.
1. Okay, so we have, so if you look at at each individual column, each of these columns is 1. Okay, so please understand that there are 5 columns, so it is sort of overflowing into over here. So this is the 5th column. Okay, so when we call this particular function fit transform with a degree 4, it creates 5 columns. The first column is to the power 0. The second one is x to the power 1, x to the power 2, x to the power 3, and x to the power 4. So the first value of x was what? First value of x was 1. Okay, so the x to the power 1 is going to be what? 1 to the power 1 is 1, then so on and so forth. Then the second value is 2, then 2 to the power 2, 4, 8, and so on. Okay, is that all right? So that is what is happening here. It obviously it is converting them into floats, so that is why you're seeing these weird values, but otherwise they are all integers. Okay, and obviously we want to do our calculations in float because most of the times we want to do some numerical calculations, so float fits obviously better than integers. So now x poly has created what? We have created a new new variable called x poly, which is a 2-dimensional numpy list, which has 5 columns, and each of those columns, the first column is x to the power 0, the second is x to the power 1, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then I'm calling linear regression. I'm again calling the linear regression function, and I'm calling this particular I'm assigning a variable name to this particular object as linreg2. Okay, and again I'll do a fit that I previously did. Okay, so I do that. I did a fit here also. Okay, that is why we are not changing almost anything. Okay, the reason for that is that this x was now a 2-dimensional matrix. Okay, this x was a 2-dimensional matrix with obviously 1 column, but in this case we again have a 2-dimensional matrix called x poly. But how many columns do we have now? We have 5 columns. Okay, and I run this and I get these coefficients. Okay, obviously there is some kind of overlap happening. What kind of overlap is happening is that your intercept is also sort of x to the power 0. Okay, and this is also creating something which is analogous to x to the power 0. So there is a redundancy. So that is why if you look at the coefficients, what are the coefficients that you're getting? This is this coefficient corresponds to x to the power 0. So this coefficient you're getting as 0, and obviously we're getting an intercept also. Okay, and that intercept is this. So these two are, there is a redundancy here. So after all the calculation is done, one of these becomes 0, the other one has a certain value which is similar to what we found over here. यहाँ पे क्या आया था हमारा intercept? Let me remove this. 4.188. Okay, what is the intercept that you're getting here? 4.287. Okay, that is not a big issue. You can also do what? Look at the second coefficient. What is the second coefficient? 2.878. What was the coefficient that we got here? क्या आया था यहाँ पे?
2.877.
Yeah. So 2.877. So they are pretty similar to each other. Okay. Obviously, you expected a little bit of difference because you also have higher order. So it is actually becoming very close to what the linear model that we had. Okay. So if you look at this, what do you get? 10 to power minus 3, 10 to power minus 4, 10 to power minus 6. So we knew this original data was created using a linear model. So we knew that a linear model is going to fit best, but we allowed a freedom of how many degrees? Instead of 1 degree, we had a freedom of 4 degrees. Okay. But even with that freedom, because we had a large data set, okay, we had 40 values. Okay. We had 40 values. Therefore, we were able to get the true picture out of it. Okay. In one sense. Okay. We are getting back to almost the true picture. Okay, these coefficients are almost negligible compared to what we have for this as well as this. Okay, so you can get those values, and similarly you can also get the names of the features. Okay, the first, so you created 5 features. No, so originally you had only one feature, X. Okay, here we are calling it as X0. It automatically creates the name X0 for itself. But so X0 was the first feature, but this is also X0 to the power 0, which is 1. Okay, so X0, X0 to the power 2, X0 to the power 3, and X0 to the power 4. Okay, so using this particular function call, you can also get the names of the individual features. Okay, which might be useful if you want to create a table. Okay, you don't have to manually type those. This will automatically, you can include these and put that as the first row of your output file. Okay, so that is, and again, I'm trying to using this particular library, matplotlib.pyplot, okay, which I have imported as PLT, again a standard name. Almost everywhere you'll see the same library. You can create something called as a scatter plot. Okay, so let me do something. Let me yeah. So what does it do? It creates a scatter plot in the color. So corresponding to X and Y, it creates a scatter plot with the color red. So X and Y are your original inputs. Please remember that. So in scatter plot, X is your X-axis, and the first value is your X-axis, and the second value is your Y-axis. Okay. So it creates this scatter plot. Then we could also create, so using so scatter plot does not join a line between them. Okay, it creates a scatter. You might have used the scatter plot in Excel or something like that, where it individually creates those points. So we had 40 points, so those 40 points are plotted over here. Okay, as dots. You could also use let me do something. What is this doing? Anybody? What is plot function going to do? Scatter created a scatter plot. What is the plot function going to do? Anybody wants to say?
The line.
It will create a line. Okay, it creates a line plot. Okay, and these are just giving you the title, and again I just this was, I just copied from there, so that is why I, anyway, so we could give title or anything. It is not showing the X and Y labels anyway. Oh, it is. Okay, here it is. So you could give any labels or X and Y labels and titles. Okay, so that is, so this is the scatter plot corresponding to the original data, and the line plot corresponds to the linear regression for one variable that we did over here. Okay, so if you look at this prediction, so please look at this. So this is linreg. Okay, the first one that we did. Okay, now I'm doing the same thing, but this is the second linear regression. Okay, where I use a 4-degree polynomial. Okay, if you look at this, you're going to get a plot like this. Let me try one more thing. Hmm. So let me make it red. And let us make it blue. This would be X. Okay, so red and blue are almost overlapping with each other. Okay, there is almost no difference between either of those two. Okay, so which is very good since we have a large data set. Now, in your assignment, you have to not only do this, but you also have to look at the first 5 points. Okay, try to fit using the first 5 points and try to fit using the last 5 points. Okay, and see how those two are different from the fitting using 40 points. Okay, you will okay, you make your own conclusions after doing the assignment. Okay, I hope this has been helpful, and most likely please do not copy from each other. There is no point of doing assignments in such manner. Okay, so please do it on your own, and don't even copy from internet. Okay, try to understand what is going on and then write it on your own. Okay, so please understand that everything I wrote it on my own except these lines. Okay, because I did not plot these earlier, but for this class I was getting late, so I copied these. Other things I have written on my own. Okay, although they might be look very similar to what is written over there, but I wrote it on my own. Okay, so I would recommend you guys not copy paste. Even if you are taking help from somewhere, please write it on the code on your own. It will make you remember things and learn. Okay, anyway, anybody has a question, I'll answer that, and I will stop for today. And how many?
In second,
Yeah,
so in second regression, if we see the value of mean square error, then it should be less than the first one.
for training error, let us see that. Yeah, good idea, let us do that. Let us do that. Where is it? Yeah. Why? But you are right, most likely it is going to be lower. May not be, I don't know. But logic says that it should be.